There is a moment when the breath stops, but something deeper keeps watching. That instant, between one world and the next, is where everything we believe about life and death collapses. It is not darkness that meets us there, but a light so vast that it erases all names, all memories, all fears. Helena Blavatsky called this the forgotten gate of eternity, the true beginning that masquerades as an end. And she warned that every human soul, blinded by illusion, walks through it again and again, without ever remembering that it has done so before. This is not a story of faith or superstition, but of hidden law, a map of consciousness buried beneath centuries of noise. Blavatsky revealed that life itself is a repetition, a circle so perfect that only awareness can break it. We are not born to learn, but to remember. Every fear, every desire, every attachment is a thread in the web that keeps us spinning inside the same dream. And until we awaken, we will keep calling the prison our home. But within the labyrinth of illusion, there is a secret passage. Those who see it gain a power that no temple or scripture can offer. The power to remain conscious when others fall asleep in the moment of death. To cross the threshold awake is to reclaim everything that was ever lost, the memory of who we truly are. Blavatsky stood as one of the few who dared to speak this forbidden truth, that the afterlife is not salvation but continuation, and that heaven itself can be a trap made of light. Yet within her words lies the key to freedom, the knowledge that consciousness can be trained, sharpened, and liberated from the wheel of repetition. Every moment of awareness is a spark in the dark machinery of eternity. Stay until the end, because once you see how the illusion is built, you can never fall for it again. And perhaps, for the first time, you will glimpse the world as Blavatsky saw it, not as a stage of suffering, but as the doorway to the infinite waiting for you to wake up. There is a moment that repeats itself endlessly in human existence, a moment we never remember, yet one that shapes every life we live. It happens not at birth, but before it. In that brief silence between worlds, something ancient is decided. Helena Blavatsky called it the great exam of the soul, a test without a teacher, a labyrinth disguised as ordinary life. Most never realize they are inside it. They work, love, suffer, and die without ever asking who wrote the questions they keep failing to answer. From the first breath, we are hypnotized by motion, the rhythm of survival, the dance of desire. We grow older, build dreams, fall in love, lose what we love, and start again as if every cycle were new. Yet in the hidden language of existence, repetition is not renewal. It is memory trying to break through. Blavatsky believed that what we call life is not a beginning, but the echo of countless forgotten lives, each one an unfinished story returning to seek completion. Imagine for a moment that your strongest fear, your deepest obsession, or the person who feels strangely familiar to you is not an accident. What if every face you meet is a mirror of your past? What if the places that draw you have already known your footsteps before? Blavatsky insisted that the universe is not random. It is a precise mechanism of experience, designed to confront us with the same patterns until consciousness awakens. And until it does, we are doomed to live as actors who never realize they are performing the same play, wearing different masks. Many ancient cultures hinted at this secret. In Tibet, they spoke of the bardo, the in-between state where the soul faces its own illusions before being reborn. In Egypt, it was the Hall of Two Truths, where the heart was weighed against the feather of Maat. Blavatsky saw these not as myths, but as metaphors of an inner process that repeats after death and before birth. She said the human soul does not evolve through time, but through recognition, the moment it remembers what it already knows. But why do we forget? Why, after each life, does the mind erase itself? Blavatsky claimed it is no accident. Forgetting, she said, is part of the design, a veil drawn over memory to keep the game alive. If we remembered the pain of every death, the weight of every mistake, the intensity of every love, we would refuse to return. Yet that same forgetting is the very chain that binds us to the cycle. We are given amnesia, so we will agree to begin again. There is a cruelty in this cosmic system, but also a strange mercy. Forgetting allows us to start over. Ignorance gives us courage. And yet, behind the mercy lies manipulation. Who benefits from the soul's blindness? Blavatsky asked this question not as a theologian but as a rebel of the spirit. Her writing suggests that there are laws, not gods, governing the cycle of birth and death. These laws are indifferent, mechanical, precise. They neither punish nor reward. They maintain balance, but they also maintain control. This was Blavatsky's greatest revelation, that the universe is not moral in the human sense. It is mathematical. What we call karma is not divine justice, but a cosmic echo. Every thought, every emotion, every desire sends out a vibration, and those vibrations return, not to punish, but to balance. Yet the human soul, trapped within this rhythm, mistakes repetition for destiny. It believes the echo is fate, and so it walks in circles. Think of the moments in your life that repeat, the same kind of love that ends the same way, the same disappointment arriving in a new disguise, the same dream that feels more like a memory than imagination. These are not coincidences, they are signals. The universe is speaking in patterns, inviting you to recognize the script, and until you do, the scene will play again. Blavatsky called this blindness the Great Sleep. Humanity, she said, is a civilization of dreamers wandering inside their own creation, convinced it is reality. She compared our world to a vast stage built out of thought, a projection so vivid that we mistake its shadows for the sun. And like dreamers who do not know they are asleep, we take everything personally. We believe the pain is ours, the joy is ours, never realizing that both are part of the same play. But there are moments, brief and electrifying, when the dream flickers. You stand in a place you have never been, yet every stone feels familiar. You meet someone and feel you have always known them. You read a sentence that feels like a memory instead of an idea. In those flashes, the soul stirs. Recognition is the beginning of awakening. Blavatsky said that every spiritual path begins not with faith, but with that strange, shattering sense of remembrance. Still, most resist. The mind clings to the illusion of newness because awakening is terrifying. To realize that you have lived and failed 1,000 times is not comforting, it is humbling. But humility is the door through which truth enters. When you accept that your story did not begin with your birth, you stop living like a victim of circumstance. You start seeing life as an echo of lessons unlearned. Blavatsky did not promise easy enlightenment. She spoke of it as an act of rebellion, a defiance against the current of ignorance. To wake up is to challenge the entire architecture of illusion. And the first step is the hardest, to question the reality you have always trusted. She wrote, "Humanity will not be free until it doubts even its own existence." That is not despair. It is liberation disguised as paradox. When we begin to observe life instead of being consumed by it, something miraculous happens. The same events occur, but their meaning changes. You no longer ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, you ask, "What is this trying to show me?" This shift of perception is the first crack in the cosmic mirror. Awareness expands. The exam continues, but now you begin to see the questions. And yet, even for the awakened, the challenge remains. Awareness does not stop the machinery of karma. It only changes your relationship to it. You still must live, suffer, love, and lose. The difference is that now you watch yourself doing it. You know that every emotion is a wave in the sea of eternity, and the task is to ride the wave without drowning in it. Helena Blavatsky stood at the threshold between East and West, mysticism and reason, and she dared to translate the invisible into human words. She called upon her readers to remember themselves, to pierce the veil of amnesia and reclaim the memory of the soul. For her, knowledge was not power. Knowledge was resurrection. There are testimonies of those who read her works and claim to dream of other lives. Soldiers who felt they had died in wars they never fought. Artists who wept before landscapes they had never seen. These are not fantasies. They are echoes, fragments of the great memory trying to resurface. When consciousness begins to awaken, the boundaries of time and identity tremble. Perhaps that is why most turn away. The comfort of forgetfulness is seductive. To remember is to face responsibility for every thought and action across centuries. But Blavatsky insisted that ignorance is not innocence. To forget is to surrender your freedom. Only remembrance can end the cycle. Only awareness can stop the wheel. And so, part 1 of this journey ends with a question that echoes across lifetimes. If you are living the same test again and again, what will you do differently this time? What if the memories you call imagination are your soul's way of whispering the answers before you fall asleep once more? Hook to next part. The laws that keep the soul imprisoned are not invisible gods or demons. They are forces older than time, written into the very structure of existence. And Blavatsky claimed to have seen them. She called them the architects of karma, the silent recorders of every heartbeat in the universe. Helena Blavatsky once wrote that the universe is ruled not by mercy or cruelty, but by precision. She saw existence as a vast system of balance, an endless rhythm where every action, thought, and feeling sends ripples through invisible worlds. These ripples, she said, do not disappear. They return. This returning force is what she called karma, not as religion describes it, but as a cosmic law of resonance. Every cause must echo, every vibration must find its equal. And this law is perfect, which is why it is merciless. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a lake. You throw a stone. The ripples spread across the surface, hit the shore, and come back. You may forget the stone, but the water remembers. This is how the universe works. The problem, Blavatsky said, is that we live surrounded by countless ripples from countless past actions, our own and those of others. Every word spoken in anger, every act of kindness, every secret thought becomes a vibration that will return to its source. Sometimes it returns as joy, sometimes as pain. The law does not choose, it only balances. To understand karma, you must stop thinking of it as punishment and begin to see it as geometry. Life is an equation that always seeks equilibrium. When we lie, we bend reality, and reality will bend us back until we are straight again. When we act with compassion, we create harmony, and harmony returns multiplied. Karma is the architect of destiny, but it is also our greatest teacher. Every moment of discomfort, every loss, every obstacle is not random. It is a lesson we ourselves designed in a forgotten life. Blavatsky described mysterious beings who serve this cosmic order, not angels, not gods, but intelligences she called the Lipikas, the lords of karma. They are the record keepers of eternity, the silent scribes who inscribe every vibration of consciousness into the book of life. She claimed that their work is not judgment, but recording. They do not interfere. They observe, measure, and maintain the structure of universal justice. To them, every human experience is data, every sorrow, a necessary counterweight to joy. They ensure that balance is never broken, that the moral architecture of the cosmos stands firm. This idea may seem distant, but its reflection appears in everyday life. Think of the moments when you hurt someone and later, through another person, felt the same pain mirrored back. Think of the kindness you once gave freely, only to find yourself rescued by kindness years later. Karma speaks through the language of repetition. It teaches us by showing us what we have been. The world is not against us. It is our reflection. Blavatsky often compared karma to a mirror that never lies. The mirror does not punish the face that frowns. It simply reflects it. The moment you smile, the reflection changes. The universe works the same way. The moment consciousness shifts, reality follows. That is why self-knowledge is the first step toward liberation. Until we recognize our reflection in every event, we will keep asking, why is this happening to me? When the real question is, what am I being shown? She warned, however, that the law is precise even when we are not. When we act unconsciously, we still create causes, and those causes will still return. Every careless word carries energy. Every hidden resentment grows into form. Blavatsky believed that thoughts are living beings and that they attach themselves to the mind that created them. If you project fear, fear surrounds you. If you project envy, envy consumes you. The Lipikas do not judge the content of your thoughts. They simply ensure that the echo reaches home. This perspective changes everything. It means that every frustration is an opportunity for correction. Every difficulty is a mirror reflecting a distortion in our inner geometry. And the only way to change destiny is to change consciousness. You cannot destroy karma. You can only transcend it. When you understand its purpose, the law becomes your ally, not your jailer. Modern terms. Think of it like a psychological loop. Have you ever noticed how you attract the same type of people, the same conflicts, even when you move cities or change relationships? The patterns follow because the frequency inside you has not changed. Karma is not waiting to punish you after death. It unfolds right now, through circumstances that mirror your hidden state. As Blavatsky said, the universe is the mind made visible. She also revealed that karma operates not only individually but collectively. Entire nations, families, and civilizations carry shared patterns. History itself repeats because humanity refuses to learn. Wars are not born from politics. They are echoes of unresolved hatred from the past. Even the earth bears karma. Every imbalance we create in nature will return as consequence. We call it climate, chance, tragedy, but the Lipicus would call it balance restored. And yet within this inexorable law there exists freedom. Awareness transforms the weight of karma into the wisdom of karma. Once you see the lesson behind the event, you no longer need the event. Pain loses its purpose the moment understanding is born. Blavatsky believed that enlightened souls, those who see clearly, are not exempt from karma. They simply stop generating new chains. They act from harmony, not reaction, and their lives become aligned with the higher order of the cosmos. But here lies the paradox. The more conscious you become, the more sensitive you are to imbalance. The universe seems to react faster, more sharply. The lessons come quickly because you are ready to learn. In this way, the spiritual path is both a liberation and an acceleration. Every truth you uncover brings both peace and responsibility, and this is what separates the sleeping soul from the awakening one. Blavatsky said that most people pray for miracles, but miracles are not gifts. They are consequences. They happen when alignment is perfect. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions vibrate in harmony with truth, reality rearranges itself in your favor. It is not magic. It is mathematics of the divine. To experience it, one must first stop living as a victim of karma and start living as its co-creator. Have you ever felt a moment when time slowed down, when everything seemed connected, as if life were revealing a hidden order? That is the whisper of the law. It invites you to take responsibility, not as guilt, but as power. To recognize that every event is your creation is to regain your sovereignty. And that is what the Lipicus truly record. The awakening of consciousness that begins to remember its own authorship. Now imagine what would happen if humanity, even for a single day, acted with total awareness. Every word kind, every thought clear, every action conscious. The world would shift overnight. Wars would stop, fear would vanish, and the great wheel of repetition would slow. But such a transformation begins within one being at a time. It begins with you, right now, as you listen to these words. Blavatsky did not ask for belief. She asked for awareness. She urged humanity to test the laws of existence in the laboratory of their own lives. Watch how cause and effect move through your days. See how life mirrors your state of mind. Every time you choose patience over anger, compassion over pride, the universe reshapes itself around you. You are not a victim of fate. You are an apprentice of eternity. If you feel that something in these words awakens an old memory, a deep recognition, as if you have heard this truth before, it is because you have. The soul remembers even when the mind forgets. And when remembrance stirs, a new cycle begins, one born not of ignorance, but of choice. This is the true initiation. The moment you stop asking for a way out and begin walking as one who knows the way. Now, if you feel that subtle vibration within you, that spark of remembrance that says, yes, this is true, then affirm it. Write in the comments the sacred phrase, I accept the knowledge. In doing so, you align yourself with the light of awareness that breaks the cycle of blindness. These words are not ritual. They are declaration. They tell the universe you are ready to remember. And if you have the courage to go further, if you feel called by the deeper current of this mystery, Look toward the red button somewhere in the corner of your screen. Only the chosen will click it. Only those who recognize the echo of truth will act. Press it and step into this circle of seekers. Let it mark the moment when you chose remembrance over sleep, light over illusion, freedom over repetition. Helena Blavatsky said that after the body dies, the real journey begins. But she warned that this journey is not toward heaven or hell, as religion teaches. It is a passage through layers of consciousness, through worlds that mirror the soul's own vibration. The first of these realms she called Kamaloka, the world of desires. It is not a place but a state, an echo of the emotional body that once lived on earth. Here, thought becomes form and emotion becomes landscape. Every fear, craving, and hidden passion of the human heart takes on shape and breath. The soul must walk through a world built entirely from itself. Blavatsky described Kamaloka as the most deceptive and seductive stage of the afterlife. The newly released soul, still clinging to the sensations of the body, sees and feels everything with intensified clarity. It believes it has awakened into a brighter world, but what it really sees are the luminous shadows of its own mind. The kind person walks through gardens of peace and light, while the cruel wander among storms of their own making. There is no judgment here, only reflection. The universe does not punish, it reveals. Every emotion that we feed in life becomes alive in Kamaloka. Anger becomes fire that cannot be extinguished. Desire becomes chains of light that feel like love but hold like iron. The jealous and the proud find themselves surrounded by their own creations, not demons, but the energy they once released without awareness. The soul faces what it has built, and in that confrontation, it begins the long process of purification. Kamaloka is not hell. It is therapy through fire. But here lies the danger. Most souls, unprepared for such intensity, lose themselves in illusion. They confuse their projections with reality. They see loved ones calling to them, familiar faces smiling through the mist, and they follow. But Blavatsky insisted, those forms are not real. They are memories animated by the desire to hold on. The soul, unable to let go, wanders deeper into its own dream, believing it has found heaven when it has only entered a brighter cage. Have you ever dreamed so vividly that waking felt like dying? That is how the soul experiences Kamaloka. The sensations are overwhelming. The longing to remain is irresistible. Only those who have trained their consciousness to detach from emotion can pass through unburned. But how many of us are ready for that? How many can watch their greatest desires dissolve and still remain calm? Blavatsky said that every attachment becomes a doorway through which illusion enters. Even love, when it is possessive or desperate, becomes a chain. The mother who cannot release her child may linger for centuries, haunting the living, drawn by the magnetic pull of grief. The lover consumed by jealousy remains trapped, reliving the same betrayal endlessly. Kamaloka feeds on repetition, the mind replaying its own story until it finally recognizes the futility of desire. This may sound distant, but look closely at your own life. How many of your days are spent in invisible Kamaloka already? How often do you replay old arguments, imagine alternate endings, or cling to what no longer exists? These mental habits are small rehearsals for the afterlife. The same forces that trap the soul after death trap the mind in life. Kamaloka begins long before we die. What would happen if you stopped identifying with every emotion that passes through you? Would you feel empty or free? Blavatsky suggested that learning this detachment while alive is the key to transcending the first world of illusion after death. She compared it to learning to swim before crossing the ocean. In life, we can still change course. In death, the current is stronger. She revealed that in Kamaloka, time does not exist as we know it. Emotions determine duration. A moment of deep regret can last centuries. A flash of love can end an eternity of darkness. The soul is the clock, and feeling is the measure. This explains why some spirits seem trapped, repeating the same scenes endlessly. They are not cursed. They are addicted to emotion itself. But how does the soul move beyond Kamaloka? Blavatsky said that when every passion has burned itself out, when the fire of desire consumes the last drop of fuel, What remains is silence, the still point from which the next state begins. That stillness opens the gate to Devachan, the so-called heaven of rest. Yet what waits there is not salvation, but another illusion, softer and sweeter, designed to lull the weary traveler into sleep. She described a transition so subtle that few souls notice it. One moment, you are standing in the fading glow of your last emotion. The next, you awaken in light so radiant it feels divine. The pain of Kamaloka vanishes. The memories of earthly struggle dissolve. The soul feels only bliss, a love without shadow, a peace without question. This is the second trap. For who would wish to leave paradise? Imagine being surrounded by everything you ever longed for. The people you loved are there, smiling. The dreams you could not fulfill are completed. The wounds of life are healed. You are weightless, free, infinite. And yet, according to Blavatsky, this perfect world is only a reflection, the mind's final illusion. Devachan is the paradise of the personal self, a dream so exquisite that the soul mistakes it for truth. But even here, the cycle continues. What if your idea of heaven is actually a mirror of your desires? What if bliss itself is the mechanism of control? Blavatsky warned that this false paradise is not a reward, but a reset. While the soul sleeps in ecstasy, its memory is gently erased. Piece by piece, the record of past lives, of mistakes, of growth, is dissolved. When the soul finally leaves Devachan, it awakens in a new body, a new era, carrying only vague tendencies, talents, fears, affinities, but no conscious remembrance. The circle closes. The exam begins again. There is a story of a woman in India who claimed to remember 3 past lives with vivid detail. She recognized people, places, even handwriting. But as she grew older, the memories faded until she could no longer tell dream from truth. Blavatsky would say that she brushed against the veil of Devachan, that thin membrane between remembrance and forgetting. Most never come that close. The system is designed to preserve the illusion of new beginnings. The cruel beauty of this design is that it keeps humanity learning through ignorance. Each life feels fresh because it must. If we carried the weight of all our failures, we would lose the will to try again. The universe, Blavatsky said, is both teacher and trickster. It gives freedom only through the illusion of choice. The soul believes it is evolving, but it is merely rotating in a perfect circle. Liberation comes only when awareness pierces the illusion, when the soul sees both Kamaloka and Devachan for what they are, stages in the long hypnosis of existence. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to be born wise, calm, or strangely detached from worldly concerns? Blavatsky believed such souls had begun to wake up. They carry a faint remembrance of the trap, an instinctive distance from illusion. They are not better than others. They are older. Experience has burned away their fascination with the dream. For them, life feels different, like walking through a movie they've already seen. And yet they stay, not from ignorance but from compassion, to help others remember. There is something profoundly psychological in this teaching. Modern science speaks of trauma stored in the subconscious, repeating through generations until resolved. Karma in this sense is not punishment but psychology at a cosmic scale. Humanity itself is one great mind, healing through repetition. Each person, each era, each struggle is an archetype replayed until awareness integrates the lesson. Kamaloka and Devachan are the externalized dreams of this collective psyche. Blavatsky's insight suggests a terrifying freedom, that we are the creators of both heaven and hell. Every belief, every attachment, every fear builds the architecture of our next reality. Consciousness is the architect. Death does not erase creation. It merely transfers it to a subtler plane. The afterlife, then, is not judgment from above, but reflection from within. We die into our own minds. What then is real? Blavatsky said that reality begins where illusion ends, and illusion ends where attachment dissolves. Only the consciousness that can witness both pleasure and pain without being seduced by either can pass beyond the afterworlds. That consciousness becomes truly free, not ascending to heaven, but returning to source, where no polarity exists. But if we are trapped by our own creations, how can we escape? Blavatsky's answer was as practical as it was mystical. Learn to recognize illusion while still alive. When emotion rises, observe it. When desire pulls, pause. When joy overwhelms, smile but do not cling. Every act of awareness weakens the machinery of the afterworld. Every moment of detachment is a rehearsal for freedom. She taught that the one who learns to die daily, to let go of identity, fear, and craving, will meet death as an old friend, not as a stranger. Such a person will walk through Kamaloka without being deceived and through Devachan without falling asleep. Awareness will remain unbroken, and that awareness, carried beyond the veil, is the key that unlocks the next world. In the silence after death, when memories fade and the mind dissolves, only one question remains. Will you remember yourself? Or will you, once more, drift into the gentle sleep of forgetfulness? The answer, Blavatsky said, is written not in the stars, but in your daily choices. Every act of consciousness plants a seed that will bloom in the afterlife. The garden you walk tomorrow is the garden you are planting today. And so, as this part closes, imagine this. The next time you dream, you may awaken inside your own creation. The faces you see may be your thoughts made visible. The landscapes may be woven from your desires. When that happens, remember these words. Recognize the illusion. Smile at the beauty of your own mind, and keep walking toward the light that no dream can imitate. Helena Blavatsky often said that humanity worships its own reflection. After death, the proof of that illusion unfolds in a world more radiant than any dream, a world called Devachan. For most souls, it feels like paradise. It is light without shadow, love without loss, fulfillment without end. Every longing is satisfied, every fear dissolved. The mother who lost her child finds him waiting in her arms. The artist completes the masterpiece time never allowed. The soldier returns home from every battle unscarred. But according to Blavatsky, this perfection hides a dangerous truth. Devachan is not freedom, it is anesthesia. The soul is not rewarded here, it is silenced. The bliss of Devachan is built from the finest threads of human memory. Every joy we experienced on earth becomes the material of this luminous dream. It is our own consciousness projected outward, our heaven handcrafted by desire. But behind the beauty lies the same mechanism of control that governs every stage of existence. The law of karma continues. Its work, balancing energies, recording impressions, calculating consequences. The soul sleeps while the great ledger is written. Blavatsky compared this state to a divine illusion so seductive that even the wise may linger for centuries. Scientists who studied near-death experiences describe similar visions. Tunnels of light, radiant landscapes, loved ones waiting at the threshold. Across cultures, reports are almost identical, a universal pattern in the final moments of awareness. To Blavatsky, this was no coincidence. It was evidence that the afterlife experience follows the same blueprint for all. The light at the end of the tunnel is not heaven, but the first stage of forgetting. In a 2014 study, researchers from the University of Michigan recorded brain activity in dying patients. Just before death, the brain released an intense burst of gamma waves, patterns identical to those produced during vivid dreaming or deep meditation. The dying brain, they discovered, creates a final surge of perception that could easily generate visions of infinite peace and connection. Blavatsky wrote about this more than a century earlier, long before neuroscience existed. She called it the mirage of bliss, a last attempt of the human mind to translate the infinite into something it can understand. But if heaven is an illusion, why does it exist at all? Blavatsky said the universe is merciful, even in deception. After the pain of Kamaloka, the soul must rest. The dream of Devachan is a form of cosmic kindness, a necessary recovery before the next incarnation. Yet she warned that those who become too attached to the bliss lose their chance for liberation. The sleep of the spirit can last centuries or millennia. The longer it dreams, the deeper it forgets. She described Devachan as a garden of eternal noon, where there is no night, no shadow, no time. In this garden, the soul experiences endless happiness, but it is happiness without growth. There is no learning in perfection. Without contrast, consciousness cannot evolve. It stagnates in pleasure until the karmic energy accumulated in previous lives begins to fade. When that happens, the light dims, the dream dissolves, and the soul begins to fall back toward the physical world. Rebirth begins where the illusion ends. The statistics of human existence mirror this cosmic cycle. Every second, 4 people are born and 2 die. Over 150,000 souls leave their bodies every day, an endless migration between worlds. Every moment, the circle of Devachan opens and closes, a rhythm as constant as the heartbeat of the planet. Yet few remember what lies beyond the veil. Even children who recall past lives lose those memories as they age. By the time they reach 7, 98% of these recollections vanish. The forgetting is built into the system. Blavatsky saw in this forgetting both tragedy and design. Humanity, she said, is like a civilization with amnesia, endlessly rebuilding the same cities, fighting the same wars, making the same discoveries, believing they are new. She compared it to a school where no one remembers the last lesson, so the curriculum never changes. And every so often a few awaken, prophets, mystics, thinkers, souls who carry fragments of memory. They remind the rest of what was lost, but the system quickly silences them. Society calls them dreamers or madmen, yet the illusion cannot hold forever. Sooner or later, the soul begins to feel an ache even inside paradise, a subtle restlessness, a whisper that says, "There must be more." That whisper is the beginning of awakening. It is the first crack in the glass of Devachan. The soul starts to remember that there is something beyond pleasure, something vast, silent, and real. That remembrance calls it back to the wheel of life, to the only place where growth can continue, the human world. Rebirth is not punishment, it is gravity. Awareness descends again into matter, into flesh, into forgetfulness. The cycle resumes. Blavatsky said this process is so perfect that it repeats endlessly without flaw, until one soul, just one, decides to wake up. To awaken is to question. To question is to break the spell. But what does awakening look like while still alive? It begins, she said, when a person realizes that they are not the mask they wear, that the voice in their head is not their identity, that behind every thought and emotion there is an observer, a silent witness that never changes. She called this witness the higher self, the immortal part of consciousness that never sleeps and never forgets. To build a bridge between this eternal observer and the waking mind was the purpose of all true spirituality. She called that bridge the Antakarana, a current of light linking the mortal and the divine. To strengthen it, one must live with awareness. Every moment of clarity, every act of compassion, every second of self-control adds a thread to this bridge. The more complete it becomes, the less the soul forgets between lives. This is the path of the awakened, to die and remember, to live and remain conscious, to pass through the afterworlds without sleep. The idea of the Antakarana finds echoes in many traditions. In ancient Egypt, the Ba and Ka represented 2 aspects of the soul, one immortal, one personal. Their union after death ensured resurrection. In Hindu philosophy, the Atman connects to the Paramatman through meditation, a union that ends the cycle of rebirth. In modern science, even quantum theories of consciousness hint at a field of awareness that transcends the brain. Across cultures and centuries, the same message appears. We are not separate. We are fragments of a greater intelligence seeking reunion. But how do we remember this in daily life, when everything seems designed to make us forget? Look at the modern world, the constant noise, the addiction to distraction. On average, a person checks their phone 144 times a day. We scroll, compare, consume, and react, rarely pausing long enough to observe our own thoughts. Blavatsky would call this the new Devachan, a digital dream where pleasure replaces purpose and stimulation masks the hunger of the soul. She would say the greatest danger of our time is not ignorance but endless entertainment. Still, even within the noise, the soul finds its way to whisper. It appears in sudden silence after laughter, in the emptiness that follows success, in the loneliness that persists even when surrounded by people. These are not failures of life. They are invitations to remember. They are cracks in the illusion through which truth begins to shine. Across the world, more people than ever report experiences of transcendence. Surveys show that 1 in 5 people claim to have felt moments of timelessness, episodes where they sense being part of something infinite. Psychologists call them peak experiences. Blavatsky called them glimpses through the eye veil. They are not accidents. They are reminders. The soul is always searching for its own reflection in the infinite. She taught that spiritual evolution does not happen in monasteries or temples, but in the middle of daily life, in patience with a child, in forgiveness after betrayal, in the quiet act of choosing understanding over pride. Each of these moments forges the antakarana. They are the invisible threads that connect the human to the divine. The bridge is not built in heaven. It is built in the heart. But this work is not without resistance. The mind fights to stay in illusion. It craves comfort, certainty, pleasure. Awareness, by contrast, demands courage. The courage to stand in emptiness without running. That is why few complete the bridge. They begin with passion, but the fire fades. They seek peace, but are tempted by bliss. They want truth, but settle for beauty. Yet the few who persist reach a state Blavatsky called conscious immortality, the ability to move through life and death as one continuous stream of awareness. Imagine walking through the world with memory intact, knowing that every face you see is familiar, that every lesson is remembered, that nothing is ever truly lost. This is not fantasy. Across history, there are rare accounts of beings who remembered all their incarnations, souls who had transcended the veil. In the East, they are called bodhisattvas. In the West, adepts. They return not because they must, but because they choose to. They are gardeners in the field of time, tending the growth of others. In the end, Blavatsky's teaching is both revelation and responsibility. The universe is not something happening to us. It is something happening through us. Heaven and hell, karma and devachan, birth and death, these are not places, but reflections of the consciousness that experiences them. The higher the awareness, the clearer the reflection. And when reflection becomes transparent, the soul sees beyond it, to the source from which all light comes. Are we pursuing fleeting happiness or embracing awakening? The answer lies in our present thoughts, feelings, and actions. Every loving thought, clear act, and silent moment guides us to remembrance. Blavatsky offered courage, urging us to see truth beyond illusion. Devachan is a dream to transcend, and the antakarana, the bridge of memory, is our path home. In her later years, Blavatsky emphasized practice over mere knowledge. Wisdom must integrate into daily life to avoid remaining mere theory. Truth isn't for decoration, it's for awakening. Knowing about illusion isn't enough. We must live beyond it. The final step is remembrance. We are already eternal consciousness. Forgetfulness is the only barrier. Liberation is a state remembered in life, a daily practice of living. Awake. How to begin? Awareness. Observe yourself non-judgmentally. Emotions, reactions, and desires signal attachments to illusion. Pause before anger controls you. Breathe into fear and enjoy joy without attachment. Awareness transforms experience into perception, breaking chains of ignorance. Detachment. This means freedom, not indifference. Live without being possessed by possessions. Love without owning. Help without expecting reward. Detachment arises from understanding life's transience. Identify with the untouched consciousness that observes all, and fear loses its grip. Remembrance. Daily reconnect with your eternal self through meditation, silence, or inner listening. 5 minutes of stillness opens the channel to higher consciousness, forming the luminous antakarana. Service. Lifting others awakens us. Kindness expands consciousness, harmonizing with universal law. Service breaks the illusion of separateness, uniting us. Compassion is the highest wisdom. Courage. The path demands bravery to face your illusions, doubt, and loneliness. Courage is acting despite fear, strengthening the bridge between higher and lower nature. Integration. Don't separate spiritual from practical. Bring awareness to all aspects of life. Every moment, every action can be sacred. Blavatsky foresaw humanity's turning point, material progress outpacing spiritual maturity. We are in an age of information, not understanding, globally connected yet inwardly divided. Balance requires awareness to spread from individuals to communities. Begin where you are. Talk of meaning. Replace judgment with curiosity. Use technology for education. Share uplifting ideas. This quiet revolution of consciousness makes illusion harder to hide. One person can make a difference. Awakening is contagious. A single conscious act ripples through lives. Kindness over anger, presence over distraction, reflection over reaction. These change the world. Karma responds to consciousness. The universe reorganizes around clarity. Finally, Blavatsky taught humility. True wisdom sees unity in all things. When you see the divine within yourself and all beings, the wheel of illusion slows. You become a participant in existence, not just a seeker. Simple plan for 30 days. Observe emotions for a week, noting patterns without judgment. Choose one attachment, fear, dependency, thought, and practice letting it go. Sit in silence 5 minutes daily. Just listen. Perform one conscious act of kindness daily, even if inconvenient. Reflect before sleep. Did I live with awareness or illusion? Watch what changes. Awareness expands, relationships soften, circumstances align. You'll feel guided by an inner intelligence. When you forget, forgive yourself. Forgetting is human. Remembering again, more deeply, is what matters. The soul evolves through persistence, not perfection. If these words resonate, you are part of this awakening. You're not here by accident. The call of remembrance finds those ready. Now turn reflection into movement. Share your experiences in the comments. Join this community of seekers. Subscribe and like the video to spread this light. The future depends on awareness. Your journey has begun. You will wake up. The question is how soon you remember you were never truly asleep.